A lot of people say they can't buy a home because they have no money, and that's just not true. You don't need any money to buy a home. There are so many ways you can buy a home with no money or very little money. I'm gonna teach you 5 ways you can buy your first investment property, because when you find your next deal, I want you to be prepared to actually buy it. If you're new to the channel, my name's Justin You're Wrong. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur here in Las Vegas. I've made hundreds of videos teaching people about real estate, money, and self-development. And the goal of this channel is to help you grow your money and your mindset. Also, if you don't already, follow me on Instagram at Justin You're Wrong. The first way you can buy a home is using a conventional loan. And I'm sure you're already familiar with a conventional loan because that's what most people use. But if you're not, here's what they usually are. You can get a conventional loan from any big bank or any normal local lender, and these are the loans that you typically see. So these are usually like the 15 or 30-year loans where you pay interest over time. A lot of people think that conventional loans are just for putting 20% down or 15% down, and that's really not the case. There are now options to put 5% down, 3% down, and of course things will change over time. I am not a licensed loan officer, so don't hold me to the fire. But as of time of recording, I've seen conventional loans as low as 3% down. And as far as interest rates go, I'm not even gonna get into that because I'm not a licensed loan officer, but they're typically lower than these hard money lenders or other lenders that you may have heard of, and I'll get to that later. And honestly, conventional loans are pretty great. I actually bought my very first rental property using a conventional loan. That first deal, what I learned was so much more than the little profits that I gained. And I want you to keep that in mind for yourself. Your first deal isn't about how much money you make. It's great if you make money, but even if you lose money or if you break even, your first deal is about learning and giving you the momentum to move to the next deals. That's what it's all about. Another thing about using a conventional loan is if you're using one, you don't necessarily have to live in that home. You can use a conventional loan to buy a rental and rent out the property immediately. Of course, this is gonna depend on the specific lender that you use, and I guess how much you put down and what their rates and what their terms are. The second way you can finance a home is by using one of these 2 loans. One is called an FHA loan, and one is called a VA loan. In short, an FHA loan is a federally insured loan, and it's designed to help people buy a home with less money down and lower credit. Similarly, VA loans are government-backed loans designed for active military members or veterans. Overall, these loans are pretty great, especially if you don't have a super high credit score and if you don't have that much money to put down on a home. As of right now, you can put as little as 3.5% down on a home for FHA loans, and you can put 0% down for VA loans. And if you don't know what down means, when I say down, I'm referring to a down payment. And if you don't know what a down payment is, this is what it is. All a down payment is a percentage of the purchase price that you're gonna be paying on a home that you have to pay upfront. For example, if you're gonna buy a home and it's worth $100,000 and the down payment amount is 10%, that would mean that you have to pay 10% of $100,000 upfront, which totals to $10,000. That is your down payment. That's what you're gonna be paying upfront so that you don't have to pay the entire purchase price, and the rest of it, that other 90%, that will be covered by your lender. That's how it works. Another thing I wanna touch on with FHA and VA loans is that these are specifically owner-occupied loans. And all that really means is that if you're going to utilize one of these loans, you are going to have to live in the property for at least a year. So when you use these loans, your intention has to be to at least live in the property for at least a year. And if you don't, you're committing mortgage fraud, and I highly suggest for you not to do that. Don't lie about your intentions when you're buying a home. It's not worth it, and it's the wrong way to do business. The third way you can finance a home is using a hard money lender. A hard money lender is very different than your conventional lender. For the conventional lender, they're gonna be asking you for a lot of personal documents. They'll want to have access to your W-2s, your tax returns, your pay stubs if you have any. They'll want to know your bank statements, credit score. They want to know a lot of stuff because as the conventional lender, they're going to qualify you for the loan based on your personal finances. But with a hard money lender, it's completely flip-flopped. All the hard money lender really cares about is how good of a deal you're buying. And if you're gonna be buying a great deal, they're gonna lend on it. So you won't typically find a hard money lender asking you for all these things about your personal situation, so they wouldn't really care about your W-2s, tax returns, all those different things that a conventional lender would, but they care a lot about what kind of home you're buying. The main thing that they need to know is that the home is being bought at an extreme discount. That's what a hard money lender is in general, but here are some other key differences between them and a conventional lender. For hard money lenders, you're often going to be paying higher interest rates than a conventional lender. For example, you're probably going to be paying somewhere between 8 and 14% interest for hard money. And also, you're not going to be paying this interest for 15 or 30 years like a conventional lender. If you plan to use a hard money lender, expect to use a 6 to 12 month term. So these are very short-term loans. And there's a reason why they charge higher interest rates in our short-term loans, so don't be scared. Typically, if you use a hard money loan, you're likely buying a property at a massive discount, and you're probably going to flip it, or if not flip it, you're going to renovate it at least, and then either sell it or refinance. So really, you would use a hard money lender when you're buying a home at a discount and you plan or intend to fix up the home. And when you flip a home, typically you're gonna hold on to the home somewhere between 4 and 12 months. And that's the reason why these hard money loans are so short term. They're 6 to 12 months, because that's usually how long someone will hold on to a home if they're flipping it. And they charge higher interest rates than these conventional lenders because the hard money lender takes on a lot more risk, because there's a lot more going on when you have to fully renovate a home compared to if you're just buying a home that is move-in ready with a conventional lender. A couple other things I want you to be aware of when using a hard money lender. You want to ask if they charge any points, and it's likely that they do. And if you're unfamiliar with points, all they are, it's a percentage of the loan amount they give you that they charge when you buy the home. So it's an upfront cost. For example, if they're gonna give you a loan of $100,000 and they say they charge 1 point, which is common, that means you have to pay 1% of the $100,000 when you buy the home. That is $1,000 upfront. That's a fee of theirs. And from what I've seen, at least, I've seen a range from 0.5 to 2.5 points for these hard money lenders. It's gonna vary lender by lender. Another upfront cost I want you to be aware of when using a hard money lender are something called service fees. This is the same concept as points, except it's not a percentage of the loan amount. Usually they're just a flat fee. So some hard money lenders might charge $1,500 or $2,000 whenever they give you a new loan. I would just be sure to ask them what kind of upfront charges they have so that you're aware of it before using them. The last thing about hard money I want you to be aware of is that often they will lend for the rehab or the construction cost. So if your intention is to fix up a home, a hard money lender will often lend on the purchase price as well as the rehab. Not all of them do, but some do, so be sure to ask. And after hearing about hard money, I don't want you to be turned off from it. I know you heard that it has higher interest rates and they're short-term loans and they're mainly for homes that you have to fix up. Don't be turned off from that. I remember when I first heard of hard money, I thought I would never use it because my intention at the time when I was just getting started was just to accumulate a lot of rentals, and I was using conventional loans for that. But what I quickly found out is that if you use a conventional loan to buy rental properties, you use the loan, you use your money for the down payment, and once you spend your money on that down payment and the closing cost, you're broke and you have to save up to buy another house. And there's nothing wrong with that because you can easily buy 1 property a year, 2 properties a year by following this method depending on the job that you have. But if you really want to scale and buy a lot of homes, I'd encourage you to start utilizing hard money because you can get in and out of homes very fast, meaning you can buy a home, fix it up, resell it for a big profit, and then do it again. The trick is you have to find great deals to do this. So be open-minded about all these different loan types that you're hearing about. The fourth way you can buy a home is by using something called private money. Private money is simply money that you get from another individual. It could be a rich uncle of yours, it could be a mom, dad, sister, whoever, but it's not an institution. It's not a conventional lender or a hard money lenders because those are institutions. Those are either banks or specifically their lenders. A private money lender is just another person like you or me. And this person just happens to have a lot of money and they want to invest their money so they can get a return on it. Keep in mind, in order to use private money for these homes, you have to be courageous enough to ask other people for money. And with any potential lender that you speak to, they really want to know 2 things. They want to know, why should I trust you? And they also want to know, what can you do for me? As far as developing trust with that potential lender, one, you have to have strong communication skills, and you have to be able to present your ideas to them very clearly on how they will get paid, how they will get their money back. If you can't communicate that clearly, they will not lend to you. Why should they? And the second way to build good trust is to develop a strong personal brand. Everyone out there, including you, has a personal brand. I don't even care if you're not posting content or you're not an influencer or anything like that, but you have a personal brand, because when someone thinks of your name and thinks of you, they think of something. And if you don't know what they think of, you have a problem. You have to work on developing your personal brand and shaping it in a way where you want people to see you in that way. And if you're brand new to real estate investing and you want to be known as a real estate investor, then post about your journey as a real estate investor. It doesn't even matter if you've never done a deal. Post what you're doing. So you can post about you making cold calls, or you can post about you making offers on the MLS. You can post about your journey, and the more people see you doing that online, showcasing your journey, the more likely it is that someone's gonna be willing enough to lend you money. Every single private money lender of mine I've gotten because of social media, because they found me on social media, they trusted me enough to contact me about lending money because I was always asking for it and showcasing my journey. That's how I got it, social media. So those are ways you can build trust with a potential lender, but the next thing that you got to address is, what can you do for them? And really, that question comes down to two things. One, they want to know how their money is secured, and two, they want to know what kind of return they're going to get on the money. When it comes to negotiating what kind of return they get on their money, I just like to figure out what they want. Every private money lender is different because everyone cares about something different. Some people just want to get a modest return, they want to match the stock market, or they maybe just want to do better than the cash sitting in their bank. Other potential lenders might be willing to take on more risk in exchange for more profits. So they might want to split the profits with you, also known as an equity split, splitting the profits. So really just ask the person what kind of return they want, and then carry on the conversation from there. The one thing I will say when you have those negotiations is, if you're just starting out especially, don't be too greedy. For example, let's say someone wants to split the profits with you 50-50, and you're just very hesitant about splitting the deal and the profits 50-50 because you might see a potential $50,000 profit and you don't want to split that $25,000. But in my opinion, when you're just getting started, the first few deals are just about getting the experience and learning. If you can profit in the process, even better, but I would much rather split a big deal than have no deal at all. So just keep that in mind. The other thing that this potential lender is going to care about is, how do they know that their money is secured? And if they're going to be lending on the entire purchase price, closing cost, and the rehab, then you can let them know that the money is going to be secured by the property. So if you were to ever not perform as the investor, not pay them back, or not follow through with what you were going to do, they, as a private money lender, can foreclose on the home, take the home from you, and they end up with a home at a great discount. Worst case scenario. So best case scenario for them, they make a lot of money, they get the return or profit split or whatever you work out. Worst case scenario, they get a home at a great discount. The fifth way you can buy a home is cash. This is pretty self-explanatory. You just have to have money in your bank account. If you have $250,000 in your bank account, you can buy almost a $250,000 home. The reason I say almost is because there are also closing costs you have to account for. But cash is pretty simple. If you have the cash in the bank, you can buy the home. Also, if you want to grow your real estate business, whether you're brand new or if you already have deals under your belt, DM me the word coach on Instagram at JustinYou'reWrong. I'll see you at the next one.